ورسوله الكريم أما بعد. Ibrahim a.s. gave a very powerful message to his people, explaining to them who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was and what He did. In other words, Ibrahim a.s. gave them da'wah towards Allah. Da'wah means to invite people towards Allah. Da'wah is not necessarily telling people what to do, but it begins with introducing people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to people, so that they recognize who He is. They understand who the true creator and master actually is. Once they recognize who their master is, how beautiful He is, how powerful He is, then they will feel compelled to submit to Him. So Ibrahim a.s. introduced them to Allah. Allah is the one who does this for me, He does this for me, He does this for me. Now once a person conveys a message of Allah, that da'wah, that invitation that they have given, is actually a very, very noble deed in the sight of Allah. It's not something ordinary to speak about the greatness of Allah, because speaking about the greatness of Allah leads to people doing all kinds of great deeds. So it becomes like the core, like the generator, the engine or the motor that leads to all these good deeds. And the rule is that when a person does a good deed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them an opportunity to make dua and accept that dua. So one of the ways of getting our du'as accepted is to do a good deed before that. So in this case, the good deed was inviting people towards Allah and proclaiming the greatness of Allah. After Ibrahim a.s. did that, he started making dua. What did he ask for? In these verses, in Surah Ash-Shu'ara, Rabbi habli hukman wa alhiqni bis salihin. First thing is, he asked Allah for hukm, which is the ability to make decisions, the ability to make judgments, the ability to decide. It includes knowledge. Knowledge of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from him. Rabbi habli hukman. And the next thing he asks for is Al-Ihsan bis Salihin. Add me, include me to those slaves of yours that are pious. I want to be included in that group of people that are your close slaves, the ones that you love, the ones that are upright, the ones that do good deeds. The third thing he asks for, وَجَعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. Lisan means tongue, sidq means truth. Grant me a tongue of truth. In other words, have people speak about me truthfully after I'm gone. Why did he say this? Because he knew da'wah he's giving, the message he's conveying is going to be looked at in different ways. And most of the people will not accept his invitation. They've rejected him. They've rejected his invitation. And because of that, they're saying all kinds of nasty things about him. All kinds of bad things. And in this world, they're putting him down. They're treating him like an outcast. Treating him roughly. Making up all kinds of stories just because they don't like what he's saying. But he says, Oh Allah, after I leave, have people speak truthfully about me. In other words, let them know who I really was, and let that be on the tongues of people. My actual legacy, my actual deeds, my actual mission, my actual character, oh Allah, you reveal that to people after I'm gone. وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. And the fourth thing he asks for, وَاجْعَلْنِي مِنْ وَرَثَةِ جَنَّةِ النَّعِيمِ. Oh Allah, have me from those people, make me from those people who inherit, in other words, they become entitled to Jannah, they become entitled to the highest places in paradise. Of course, he is asking that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts his effort, includes him amongst the pious people, and joins them with them in akhirah as well. Then he makes another dua, which is very natural for any child to make. He says, وَاغْفِرْ لِأَبِي إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الضَّالِّينَ. Forgive my father, he was from those who were astray. Now his father Azar, spoke about him a little bit, he is the one who used to make idols for a living and sell them. And when Ibrahim a.s. gave him a lot of da'wah, he told him to get lost, go away, leave me alone. So Ibrahim a.s. responded to his rough words by saying, Salamun alayk. I say salam to you. Sa'astaghfiru laka rabbi. I promise I will ask Allah to forgive you. Innahu kana bi hafiya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will consider what I say. So because he had made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he needed to abide by it, and that's why he made istighfar. He said, وَاغْفِرْ لِأَبِي. But generally speaking, the teaching in the Quran is مَا كَانَ لِلنَّبِيِّ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن يَسْتَغْفِرُوا لِلْمُشْرِكِينَ. You can't make istighfar for people who ascribe partners to Allah. Yes, you can pray that Allah guides them, but don't ask Allah to forgive them. Why? Because Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ. Allah will not forgive, will not pardon those who ascribe partners to Him. So you're going against the law of Allah in that dua would be displeasing to Allah. And he clarifies, وَمَا كَانَ اسْتِغْفَارُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ إِلَّا عَمَّ وَعِدَةٍ وَعَدَهَا إِيَّاهِ. Ibrahim a.s. also only made that dua for his father because he had promised him, he needed to fulfill the promise. In any case, look at these beautiful du'as that Ibrahim a.s. is making. He's conveyed the message. He knows that right now I'm very close to Allah because I conveyed the message of Allah to people. Now I should raise my hands and beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is something that we should also try, where we talk about Allah, we give da'wah towards Allah, and then we raise our hands. And in summary, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Prophets ﷺ two great powers, two great abilities. One was the ability to invite towards Him, and the other was the ability to take from Him da'wah and dua. This is what we learn from these verses. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also enable us to follow in these footsteps. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in.